Michelle, or Mrs. Peterson, Michelle, has always been about providing help and support for communities and individuals since I have known her. I have seen her in her business where she's taken people who were homeless and put them to work and made them a part of her operation. I've seen her just take people who were down and out, people who were on drugs, and convert them into steady workers. So she has given her life to it. And this is another major investment that she's made in community services and community investment. There's no greater investment that we could have asked for somebody like Michelle than to pour her heart, along with her money, into an operation to make this building useful again. And she's done that. And I'm so proud to have her as my friend, and we've been friends for quite a few years. And I'm so glad to see all of you here whom I've known and seen at other events here. And I know with the staff of Zach and Teal and others who are on the staff here that this place and this neighborhood, this area of the community is going to be a growing, dynamite community in the years to come. And I'm so happy to see all these young kids who are involved in this area. Stay with this group. This is the best place that you could be, with people who care for young people, people who can bring your talents out to you. All those things are very important, and I think it will pay off in the long run. We want to make Michelle happy and know that her investment is paid off in the years to come. Now, while she's made an investment, there are other organizations, there are people with foundations and others who want to make investments in this community. So we need all of you to hang together as an organization, as a group, so that other organizations can bring money to you. My 2 minutes must be up. They cut the mic off. Thank you very much for giving me this time, and I'm so glad to be here and see all of you. Thank you very much.
Before he's we are going to talk about future events, and we really desire the support of those who are coming and standing up. Dennis, Tiffany, and again, I know it's not political, but we know what you're doing out there, and we need all that to come together. So the next person, Nick Wilkinson, I'll let him tell you the title and all that great stuff. He is running for a Senate position. I'm proud and happy to be helping him to do that. Him being here today is, the mayor could not be here. He's out of the country at a summit, but we've got not even plan B. We got another plan A is how I feel. But go ahead and share a little bit about what you're doing and what you think about this opportunity.
Sure. Well, thanks, Donna. And I do have to say that when Donna sent along the notes, she failed to mention that I would be following Chairman Freeman. So had I known that, I don't know that I would have agreed to it, because it's always a tough act to follow. But Chairman Freeman is really as great of a city councilman, as great of a longtime city advocate for neighborhoods and community and economic development. And really just as special as he is in all those roles, he's just a really great person. So let's give him another round of applause, please. And I like to think of him as a friend. Most of the time he's giving me advice. Sometimes he's kicking me in the backside and telling me do things a different way. But he's really just a great person and a true leader for our community. Thanks also, Donna and Michelle. Thank you for inviting us here today. Like Donna said, my name is Nick Wilkinson. I'm the Deputy for Economic Development in the Mayor's Office. And it's really a pleasure to be here on the Mayor's behalf. We're excited about this investment in the community, this continued investment in the community. Selfishly, this is really a special thing for me. I see Teal there, and it was about 5 years ago, Teal, that I think you came to some folks at C&E where I was at the time and said, you know, I think you guys own some property on Glass Street. And we said, really? And they said, yeah, and it's this property. You think we could work out a deal to be in there? And we came here, we looked, and I said, Teal, are you sure? You know, there's a lot of work here. But that was before I realized who Teal and her team were and what they were willing to do and the time and the sweat equity they put into this place. And then to now see what it's becoming under Michelle's guidance and ownership. investment in this community is going to be the key to not only this neighborhood, but every neighborhood in our community. Small business is the backbone of our local economy. So anything we can do as a city to promote investment, obviously we've done some work around this area to try to promote parking and accessibility. The largest, other than Volkswagen, single capital project we've ever made in the city of Chattanooga under this mayor's leadership has been the purchase of the Harriet Tubman site. So we're investing right alongside with you, Michelle. We want to keep investing with you. We appreciate your investment in this community. We appreciate your stabilizing this wonderful building, promoting this great public space that's eliminating blight, eliminating crime, creating a safe, happy place for families to gather and be together. So thanks again for all that you guys are doing. Thanks for having us today, and we really appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. So I know a lot of some of these people who are busy, but everyone's staying today because we got a podcast to go into now. So we will have photo opportunities at the end, very important to us as our grand opening. So I do ask those who are here, Nick, Councilman, I know it's a lot, but humor me this one time and I owe you, okay? All right, so first of all, I'm Donna Christian Lowe. Michelle and I came together when Marty, my husband and business partner, came to Michelle. We had been at a venue, emceed a venue at Urban Lawn. We met, and I wondered, who in the world is that lady? And where did she come from? Fast forward, she kind of wondered the same about me. So we were intrigued by Michelle, and I said, Michelle, you need to be one of our panelists for Chattanooga Speaks. And she said, you're crazy. She really did. And she said, I don't do that. Just cut me off. I kept telling my husband, I know this is a woman we need on a stage. So she gave in, which she does not do often. And it really was magic because we had more comments, questions about Michelle Peterson. Who is she? What does she talk? Boy, she says what I'm thinking. That was great. Fast forward, we're here today. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over, and we're going to start with Michelle. She's going to introduce herself. We'll go through the panel, and we'll start.
Hey, I'm going to try this mic. I don't know if it's on or not. Do you want to? Here we go. I'm not good. Look, as much as Donna, I thank her for being so wonderful to introduce me as though I knew what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. So most people here know me, and the kids are getting to know me, but I want to introduce my team because it's important for everyone to know, and I think everyone knows this about me, is that I don't ever go at it alone. And so when I came up with this marketing strategy to buy this building, having talked about the NCAA for the first two podcasts, I couldn't make the connection with people to understand that access to marketplace is the most important thing when you talk about opportunity and not fear. And so when you go as a young entrepreneur, and I was 23 when I started my first elevator business, I couldn't hardly even afford my rent, and someone believed in me. And the person that believed in me gave me enough equity to be able to start. I feel like I have equity in droves in this room, and especially equity in relationships at this panel. So I want to introduce the people from right to left and let them tell you a little bit about what they do and what we are doing here from the position of taking something where we can take these kids, because that's why we're all here. Let's not forget that I love to drink beer and drink great wine and eat great food. But the reason that I came to Glass Street is because there became this awareness that I could bring a lot to Glass Street with my team. And every one of you out there are now team players here for these kids, so that we could possibly take something that I had come up with while I was yelling at somebody for not doing something the right way, and they were yelling it back at me that that's the way they want to do it, and in that yelling we organically came up with something that was awesome, which is to try to get a marketing strategy so that we could bring people over to Glass Street to make investment in these kids from time, from money, from property. So I'm going to hand it off to Strat.
Before we jump in, we need to do some housekeeping real quick. Housekeeping. Let's not go in and out this door because we're doing a podcast that picks up everything. If you need to exit, let's exit that end if you don't mind. If we can turn cell phones down because we don't want phones ringing on the podcast, that would be great. All right, so we're going to jump into a name. And
Here we go. We're strapped here at Juncture.
So my name is Strat Parrott. I have an experiential marketing and digital strategies company here in town. I've been working around the world and in Chattanooga for the past 7 years. About a month ago, I was approached by Teal and her team at Glass House, which is just recently moved a little while ago to the building behind us here, and asked if I could help work with some kids to teach them about the importance of branding. She then let me know that it was a project that was also associated with Michelle, which funny thing happened. Michelle is one of my friends. She didn't hit me up first about it. So I think just because they were looking for someone in the neighborhood to be involved. And I'm a 15-year resident of the area. My dad and my sister and my nephew all live just down the road on Taylor Street. And so I've grown up in the area and really admired the things that Glass House has been doing and love all of the work that Michelle is able to put into things. So I wanted to work with them and teach the kids a little bit about branding, and I think we'll get into more of that process here in a little bit.
Yes, and I want to jump in before the next man introduces himself. We're here today about entrepreneurship, so he's talking about his business, but you can obviously see he has another job. A little partial because my dad was a fireman, but today he was a captain. In the last year, he's been promoted, and we want to say congrats to Battalion Chief or District Chief, am I right? Battalion Chief, okay, Battalion Chief. So let's give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
Big compliment. So now, take off. Carlos, what do you do?
I am the owner-operator of a motorcycle transport company, something that kind of opened my eyes to the entrepreneurship world. Growing up in an area where there's no exposure and you have a lot of talent that just hasn't been tapped into, I really believe in what's going on here, really believe in what she's got started. And
Don't leave her hanging. She had a high five there. Okay.
Right. And my job in this is to be that bridge, to help be that gateway, because I've been one of those kids. And I had the talent, and there were some things that I could have soared in, but because they were never tapped into, I was never given that opportunity. So sitting here today, I'm going to be one of those panels on that bridge to help expose these kids to the world.
Awesome, and you've done a great job. All right, Miss Till.
Hey guys, I'm Teal Tebow. I'm the director of Glass House Collective. I was a founder as well back in 2012. It's crazy. Time flies when you're having fun. We are a nonprofit, for those of you that don't know about us. We're a nonprofit working to bring life back to Glass Street and Glass Street back to life. We do that under a lot. So we have just recently, we are now doing some residential work in partnership with Habitat for Humanity, which is really exciting. We'll have an event I'll plug in later. And then we're doing some work, public space and streetscape. So the park next to this building was in partnership with a lot of other entities, CNE and Trust for Public Land. So trying to bring public space back to the neighborhood, have a safe place for these kids to play. And then streetscaping, we really believe that in order to have a cleaner, safer, and more inviting community, that we need to have the people and the players at the table with us. So the streetscape was in partnership with the city of Chattanooga. So we did the sidewalks and the street lights and the trees. And that was all done because residents, when we first showed up, we asked everyone what it is that they wanted to see for their neighborhood. And it wasn't rocket science. It was just typical things that we have in other places in our city. And so we invested on the front end in a lot of infrastructure investments that we see here that have really brought a lot of life back to this neighborhood. And it complements by seeing investment like Michelle coming in and willing to invest a lot in this building that was condemned, as well as other players like Francis McDonald with mark making, and all of the residents that we have here today. Gail McKeel is like totally a lifesaver to me and this place. She's a rock star. And so, Glass House Collective is doing a lot. We're doing a lot in business development too. But at the end of the day, I think our name rings true to what we're doing. We're a collective. So it's not just about us, it's about all the partners we bring to the table. It's about every single one of you, whether this is your first time being on Glass Street, which welcome, or the first time you're driving through, or the first time that you're spending some time or investing. We appreciate it. This is all of our work. Thank you.
Awesome, good job. All right, so we're going to do this. Michelle, after him, after Rondell, we're jumping right into the questions, okay?
Okay, so my name is Rondell Cryer, and I'm a local artist. And the reason I'm engaged in this work and on Glass Street is because I'm from New Orleans, and I grew up in an underserved community there, and I was able to, I had the opportunity to participate in an after-school arts program that really changed my life. And so, and it changed my life because it gave me opportunity to be catapulted. You know, it's very challenging. Sometimes people from neighborhoods like such have challenges with, you know, going to school, like what does it mean to go to college, and what does it mean to have a job, and look at yourself as at that age, look at a career. It's a different type of engagement. So I was able to participate in an organization that helped, you know, with empowerment. And so I became empowered, and I worked with the organization for years before I moved here to Chattanooga. And so a big part of my practice as an artist is not just to make paintings and make sculptures, it's to be a mentor. And so when I came to this neighborhood and started working with Glass House, it became very apparent to me that there was a lack of resources in this neighborhood. It's an extreme lack. It's not just a simple lack, it's extreme. And that how could I use my abilities as an artist, as a creative person, to support the people who live in this neighborhood. And so a grant through Glass House, I was able to open up a place called Studio Everything. And I took all the equipment and tools I had and just set it in a place and made myself present as well. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I open the doors. It's open to anybody. But over the last 2.5 years, it's been mainly kids that's been coming in and working. And so I see it as a way to invest in people. And that's just my contribution to the work that's happening in this neighborhood.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, all right, we're going to jump in with the first question, but let's give these children a round of applause.
Yeah, here
First
we go.
of all, they're doing it, but you guys are doing a great job. You guys are doing a great job back here, so thank you. Thank you for being mannerly. Thank you for being kids. All right, so question. I'm curious, Michelle. For the whole panel, I'm going to start off with kind of a light question. But I have been thinking this through, how this started out, and some of the things Michelle told me, and I thought she's crazy. That building is horrible. So you want to do marketing, you want to do copyright, you want to do all these things and teach these classes. I'm amazed we're here. But the biggest challenge ahead, what do you think it is? You've got some decision makers in the room. You've got some community doers in the room. And you got some people who are just saying, what can I do? What is your biggest challenge now? We're here. Michelle has got us here, and I know it was a crazy ride. But starting with you, Strat, tell me, what's the biggest challenge moving forward? It might be more than one. Kind of, go with that.
I think that's kind of a loaded question. I think one of the biggest challenges moving forward is just really establishing this as something new that's going to be a part of the community, and helping to engage with the members that are here that have been doing some stuff already, like Glass House and Studio Everything, to really kind of keep up the involvement with what all has already been happening. We've got a lot of great programs that I think can really bring people together. Good neighborhood network, mark making just around the corner. And I think there's probably some good availability to get everyone working together to really realize that whole collective that Teal was talking about earlier. And I think that it's great to have Michelle here to plug in, and that challenge really is just going to be helping to bring everybody together and continuing the momentum that those in the community have already started.
Michelle, I'm anxious
I'm going
to
to
hear
jump
this.
in and take point here for a second. I think Strat is one of the most creative people I've met in a very long time. And one of the things when I first met him, we spent a lot of time, he owns a company here in town that I've used for web development, Juncture. And one of the things that he and I spent a lot of time talking about is how do you get your story across when we live in a world based on 3 seconds? And one of the things that I think is relevant to me is the fact that when I did my first 2 podcasts and I talked about the NCAA and the public to private bartering happening at a fixed cost of primarily African Americans in this country who had the ability through their sweat equity and all of the work that they've been putting into it, that they didn't have access to marketplace. So I decided very quickly that if I could come to a community where people like Rondell is tapping into, for the ages, artists have told the story of communities. It's been very relevant to marketplace now because you see that transition happening with Nike and some of the other people who tap into that skill set, but we're not educating our kids to understand that how that goes from not learning, learning not to end a sentence in a preposition can lead to being able to write the greatest story and put the greatest picture. So what I did is I asked Till if she would let me fund a marketing workshop. I asked Till to reach out to Strat because I wanted her to run point on it because she has the time and I consider time to be such a great currency. And Rondell has the studio, and you guys have the kids, the neighborhood kids. So what we did is I funded a branding and logo contest to name this building. So the bottom line is because Till, it was a natural fit, she reached out to all these people, and I asked Carlos if he would do me such a favor because my grandmother always said if you feed people, they begin to look like you. And so I asked Carlos if he would make sure that I wouldn't lose sight of the fact that we need to pick up pizzas and bring hoagies and keep me on task. And so I only missed one, buddy. I only missed one. He called me about 3 hours. He's like, buddy, who ordered the pizzas? I was like, I didn't order the pizzas.
So, Michelle, give me a quick answer. Do you think the biggest challenge is?
I think the biggest challenge is to convey the message in less than 30 minutes because this is daunting. This task is daunting. What we are taking on, what Gail Mitchell and all these neighborhood people are taking on is like building the Hoover Dam of negative information because that's all that's coming out of these communities.
Okay, so
and we need to bring a positive flow to all these people. Like I said, thank you so much. Thank you, Darren, for coming.
Let's head on to Till because we got more questions and we want the audience involved.
Okay.
Let's head on. Let's be quick.
Hold on, let me say something. We are going to announce the winner of
we got that.
The name of the building, and we are going to show the logo.
So, Michelle.
And so there you go.
I promise.
All right, go ahead.
Y'all look, everybody in this room knows Michelle, so I don't have to say anything, right? Do y'all feel my pain? Just tell me yes.
You gave me the mic, Donna, at Chattanooga Speaks. You can't take it away from me.
Hey, I'm telling you. Okay, so Till, we're gonna end these questions real quick. It's a quick answer, but then we're gonna turn around and talk about some marketing. I'm gonna let Strat talk a little bit, but we got to get these people involved. And I don't know what questions they're gonna ask. You guys be thinking. I need you to ask questions. Don't filter your question. Now, don't say anything. We got kids in the room. Don't filter it. Ask. I've had tons of questions about this building. What are they doing? Have they lost their mind? And some of you in the room asked me that. So go ahead and ask them. Till, what's the biggest challenge?
Well, I've got a few. I would say I totally agree with you about how do you talk about this in less than an hour, honestly, and how do you do it where it's cohesive and it makes sense because there's so many players at the table, but there are so many other opportunities for you guys to be involved too. That's not something that I can say, hey, Nikki, I need you to do this, this, and this. This is a sit-down conversation that we'll need to have because I need to know your passions. I need to know what you want to get behind so that we can plug you in accordingly because there's so much going on. Second is, how do we do this and not displace the people that are here?
Say that again.
How do we do this and not displace the people that are here?
Absolutely. All right. I love that. So short. Thank you. Go ahead, Rondell.
So, just what Till just ended with, I think it's one of the most important things, like how do we create this type of change without changing the people that are here? And the second is, can we be the first city to change the status of a neighborhood from under-resourced to fully resourced? Can we at least try to accomplish that? Because I think that'll be a big deal.
I do too.
I mean, it's been who knows how many years all across America that there's been cities identified as under-resourced, and they still are. And so, if we were smart enough to identify it as under-resourced, why are we still having a problem in the same kind of neighborhoods? And so that's one of the big reasons why I'm here in this neighborhood.
So we do need to get the community involved. I got Franklin McCauley here, and he knows if I'm in the room with him, I'm going to put him on the spot. So I'm going to start, but you guys be thinking, you've got some experts up here in different areas. We want to know what you want. What do you think needs to happen? I have been asked a million questions, and I said, because it's Michelle Peterson, this could end up being Burger King or McDonald's. I don't know. It could be Tiddlywinks, widget store, who knows? But the one thing that she has communicated is this: the story's still not written. You get to write the story. That's exciting to me, to know that I can come in and be a part of something, and 10 years from now, my kid's going to be driving through here and see this logo some kid made. That's awesome to me. More importantly, that there's activity. So what are your questions? Franklin, I know you moved to St. Louis and you came back, but you've been here longer than anyone. So what do you think about today? What do you think are biggest challenges? What do you think? Or what's our greatest got to look forward to?
My wife is so excited about this because 60 years ago, she used to come with her grandmother to the Glass Street area, which was thriving. Stores, businesses, people, homes. This was a going neighborhood. And when we come through now, she says, I can't believe it. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. And you all are doing it. I'm amazed. I'm sitting here amazed, listening to you talk, hearing your positive, all your energy. I've heard about Rondell coming in, putting his stuff out, and kids coming in and picking it up and doing things with it. I'm absolutely amazed, astounded. I don't have a question. I just have all. I have all. I'm so for you, and want to be one of those who contributes. That's what I'd like to be. Thanks.
All right, so you guys, some of you in the room, I'm not going to call you out, have asked me, what is she doing? Can I talk to her? And ask questions. You've got her here, and I promise, once 7 o'clock comes, you won't have her again. So,
I'm not leaving.
So she's leaving, she's out of here. In the meantime, anybody up here on the panel want to jump in, Strat? I know you and Till, especially because I just know you guys a little more about what you've done. You want to jump in and talk about what we're doing here and do that. But I want input from you guys. Anybody got a question? Go ahead. All right, here we go. You stand up for me, say your name, and then your question.
Hi, my name is Terry Rogers, and I am the king of unfiltered questions. As I watch my wife cringe over there.
Sorry, Mike.
You ready? I came in late, and Michelle, I've known you for 20 years, and I had no idea that this was happening, and I'm sorry. I just had no idea. So my question is, what is this? What are you doing here? What's this building? What was your hopes and dreams?
My hope is that the team that I've put together here on this panel, alongside the kids, the basic reality is that until we take what we are trying to teach people and apply it, it doesn't help give them any incentive to learn. And so when we go to brand this building tonight, and we actually name the building, a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old named this building. When you look at the logo, Strat Parrott at Juncture spent a lot of time talking to the kids. I thank him for that because he was able to take a logo that an 8-year-old drew, and that's what will be on the side of this building. So my next stop is to name that donut contest. So the fact of the matter is we're going to basically take products here and we're going to let the kids name the product, and then I'm going to go out in the business community and ask people to allow us to sell that product. So if someone has a burrito that they'll allow us to name, and we can work together and I can continue to raise awareness so that people understand that the best business opportunities The best business success stories are based on opportunity and not fear. And there is so much opportunity in this community with the people over here.
Okay, I have a follow-up question. Can you tell me a little bit more about Frankly Speaking, about what exactly that is and what you look to do with that?
Well, frankly speaking, I hope that the Frankly Speaking series happens every Wednesday here. I hope that we build and we grow so big that we have to ask the Tivoli Theater, because the message is that it's just time to start talking and doing something about these communities. I was in shock and frankly just tired of turning on the TV and watching mostly young African Americans slaughter one another 5 miles from where I work. And so I just basically decided, hey, I'm going to try to do something different. So I went out and I found a young crack dealer in town through my friend Meg and Charlie Newton. Meg asked me to go to Splash, an arts organization in the West Side, and there were a couple guys across the street, and this one guy and I just struck up a conversation. He kept asking me if I was with the paper, and I was like, they won't hire me there, buddy. I don't know why. But I basically, we just took a liking to one another, and I started teaching him about product placement and rap videos, and he and I just spent countless hours. And then the next thing, you know, I said, why don't you spend a day with me, and we'll start with my insurance agent. And so essentially that's how we wound up here, as I took this crack dealer to my insurance agent at Alder and Cox. We sat there for almost 2 hours going over my insurance policy. We got back in my truck, and he said, buddy, I'm not sure why we went there. And I said, because that's the gang I belong to, buddy. I don't need a gun. I pay every month to mitigate the risk that I have in society. I don't need to belong to a gang. That's the gang that I belong to. And it's regulated by the state. Everybody who buys into the idea that we all need to mitigate our risk and understand that. And in these types of communities, the bottom line is that's not really explained, you know? And so for me, I knew at that point when he was like, why would I buy insurance? And I said, because you can't sell anything in this country without having insurance. And it will never be successful. And people like those people that are producing those rap videos and putting vodka and putting different products in there. And he said, buddy, I know every video you showed me. I bought that like 2 years ago. And I said, so here's where we're going to do. I'm going to teach you how to do this. And then essentially you will understand that if you can't insure it, there's no way that you can be successful. And I think that that is the long game here from a business platform that I wanted to share here alongside Rondell's creativity, Teal's passion, Carlos's stamina to be able to stand next to me and say, buddy, here we got to go, we got to get these kids. And then our conversations that happen so organically that I've never even been involved in. I never even knew what the fire department did really until I sat with this guy.
I'm just jumping in. We got to go. Yeah,
and how much I love Strap.
All right, so let me tie a few things in for you. First of all, I don't apologize. You know, it's what my mom says at my house. I pay the mortgage, right? But my job is to keep us on task. So let me tie some things together. When Michelle told me all this, in my mind, I did say she's crazy. But I really think I was one of the few that really got all of it, the big picture. How do you come in here and say, oh, we restored the glass building, great, let's go celebrate. And then you leave and you're done, right, Linda? It's like you're done, that's it. So she had to tie in something. So her marketing branding, she said, hey, what about if we get these kids together, teach them some marketing and branding and copyright, just simple stuff. So she got a team together. Frankly Speaking has been out there for a while at a national podcast, right? She talks about branding and all the inequities and all the things that she's passionate about. It kind of goes together. Why not have these kids come here, have a contest, create a logo, create a brand? What a success for them. What a success for us. So it all comes together. But there has to be a continuum. You can't say, okay, we've done it, now we're good. So there'll be a next. As she mentioned, the next reveal will be a donut contest. We'll tell you more about it. That's just enough. No, donuts and coffee will be here, and we'll let you know. Look for the paper. Look for the information. Now, we want to quickly go through this group before we do the reveal. Let's talk about the kids when they came in. We're working up now to doing the reveal. This is about the kids. Strat, Carlos, Teal, Rondell, Michelle. Let's start with the others first. Talk about the experience. Talk about coming in here, sitting with these kids, teaching them, and let's kind of go through each person, share that experience, and work up to our reveal.
So when I first came in to Studio Everything to meet the kids on the first day, we weren't really sure how receptive everyone was going to be to it. There are a lot of kids that come and enjoy Studio Everything every week. The number of kids that show up varies all of the time. We have just a small group of them here in the back, but throughout the whole process, there were about 10 or 15 total kids ranging from ages 4, they were raging a little bit, from ages 4 up to 15. It was crazy. I've taught a lot of different workshops and classes with kids of all varying ages. So I didn't really know what I was going to walk into. It's not a traditional classroom environment. It's something that's a little more fun. And I don't think that the kids themselves knew what they were coming to the day when we got started. So it was really nice to take a little bit of time and kind of get to know each one of them and see where their creativity was. We took a lot of time over the course of 3 weeks and 3 different sessions to really build on some of the design thinking methodologies in a very, very basic and very broad way to come up with names. Over 50 names were generated for this building from things that the kids found in the neighborhood, things that they liked, some of their hopes and dreams for what the building could be. I mean, one of the biggest questions that they asked, kind of as I suggested to them, was, when you're working on branding or marketing for something, you really want to understand what the thing is going to be. Well, at the time, it was very blue skies, very open-ended, so it was hard and difficult to tell them exactly what the building was going to be because we really don't know, and we didn't know at the time. So teaching them some creative ways to look at things like the structure of the building itself, things that are around the building in the neighborhood, led us to, again, like over 50 different names that we eventually narrowed down into just one. That was really a collaborative effort between a couple of the kids, and the experience was just it was crazy. It was a little bit overwhelming at times, but we had great help from the whole team up here, helping kind of kid wrangle. Nikki, who's here in the audience too, and Zach, who is somewhere in the back, really helped a lot with their familiarity in being in the neighborhood and working with the kids to really get things going.
I know it has to be different. I think about your background and coming into that kind of environment. I know, and that's what I want you to think about, especially with some of you, when you're coming on the other side of it, having normally an audience, a captive audience, maybe even a paid audience, right? So, and then I think about Carlos, who is a fireman, now in administration, still kind of fireman, but you had your own business. So you think about these people coming in. If somebody calls you, Franklin, and said, I need you to come over here, Michelle calls you, help these kids with marketing. It's a lost.
If Michelle calls me, it's all over. I got to do whatever she says.
Now, if she calls Linda says, I'm on my way, right? I know you are.
I show up.
Okay. So, Carlos. Yeah, I know he does. So, we know you get it from your mom. Always a mama's boy. Isn't that nice? So, tell us, from your perspective, talk about that experience for you, what it meant to you, and then just what you witnessed as progressed.
I missed the second meeting. I made the first and the third, but I pretty much played the top and loose ends, supplies, food, going around to the different tables to the kids and asking them what they were drawing, or whenever they say, well, this is not going to be good enough, I say, no, it is going to be good enough. It's yours. And that's...
Till said they couldn't keep you off the playground.
Hey, I'm a
That's what Till
guy.
said.
That's the kind of guy I am. But
Climbing ladders, right?
climbing ladders. But the one thing that I picked up on is that there's so much negativity in self and so much value placed in objects and items and money. And that even showed in these drawings because they would have an open canvas, one line, that's ugly. A letter, that's ugly. And I felt like it was my duty to say, no, it's not ugly, it's yours. Make it what it is. And I may draw another line, say, look, we did something else. And we would keep going from there. And it's, to me, that's the part that brings me in. The heartfelt, the individuality, the one-on-one. Because a lot of children nowadays are spoiled rotten and have no idea of how good they have it in life. And in an area where the expectation is so negative and so much value is placed on everything but self, it was an eye-opening experience, to say the least.
That's great. And I think it's what I like about this. These kids have you, and you to look up to. You have to have somebody tangible that you can touch, right, Linda? Because I can see all the movies I want. I can see all the marketing and advertising. But when you actually have people like these individuals, that's amazing. Next, we're going to go to Teal. We're going to let Michelle wrap up.
I'd like to make a few points. First of all, when we showed up in this building, we were called the Glass House Collective. We didn't name the building. The community did. So the Glass House became something that everybody in the neighborhood held on to because that's what this was. And when something happened horribly, it happened last 2, I guess, Christmases ago, everybody's still calling it the Glass House. Well, Glass House Collective has moved next door. And so it's a little confusing because I think people did think that Glass House was available or open like we were here. And so the fact that Michelle, we were talking, and I was like, well, why would you want to rename it? You know, everybody already calls it the Glass House. These kids aren't going to call it anything else. And Michelle's like, actually, you know, the whole idea of like actually getting the kids to name it was genius because they're the community. And so now that they're coming up with a name, that's going to stick, hopefully. And then we've got Glass House Collective is next door. And so now it's just adding more life to the street, more names, more organizations, more things. And so I think that whole process of the thinking of getting the kids involved on the front end was exciting to hear from our standpoint of, you know, somebody's willing to come in and invest in our kids. And you'll hear about that investment in a minute, right? The winners, we're going to mention them. But the second thing is also that it was interesting that we had high schoolers from Brainerd, and then we had 7-year-olds. And I think that says a lot about our work and the winners that you'll meet today. But I mean, we had 2 guys from Brainerd were really interested in this and took their notebooks home and got really involved in it. And Rondell can talk a little bit about that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I just think I mentioned to someone earlier. Anytime you have an opportunity where you're providing, especially kids, access to do something that adults typically do, it's really engaging for them, and you have all their attention. And so, I mean, I experience this, you know, on a weekly basis, so it's not something new. It's to have experience where kids come in and they're engaged in doing something. I mean, these kids are talented beyond what people would imagine, and all they need is a chance and some resources, and adequate resources too, to excel. And so I think opportunities like this provides them those resources to shine, and they will.
So we're going to finish out the question. Let me just remind you, this is just a launch, if you want to call it that. We will have future panels. Michelle has other things in the works. So tonight is really just to reveal to you not some big, frankly speaking podcast. It's to announce it and to introduce that to you, but it's more about making sure you understand what's happening in your community. You understand who these people are, because I'm expecting you to go out and reach out to Till or Rondell or Carlos, Strat, myself, and not Michelle. You can go through us to get to Michelle. But does that make sense? We're here tonight to really celebrate something significant. So I'm going to let Michelle take us out with your experience, what you felt, what you saw with these children, and then we're going to bring up a few people and do the reveal of the name of the building.
So, I mean, basically this process was just humbling to me because I made one call to everybody in this room and you guys showed up. I didn't have to beg you. I mean, I get very emotional about this because, you know, you care so much and you sit at home and you watch the news and you just don't really know what to do. And, you know, I'm just a natural born salesperson. And so I like to talk and I like for people to talk back to me. And so I thought, podcast, that's what I'll do. And and Till's going to cry and make me cry even more. And you just
Somebody get the tissue. Darian, get some tissue.
It's interesting. Yolanda Putman asked me a question when she was interviewing me for my first article in the Chattanooga Free Press in over 20 years since I first started my elevator company in 1994, in the first article in the paper. And then I went kind of silent because I was worried that in business you make so many mistakes. And I thought, if I'm worried, imagine if you were born in abject poverty. And imagine what happens when you're different. And imagine what happens when you don't have somebody sitting next to you saying, that's the best athlete in town. And for me, it was, she said, so what are you going to do on Glass Street? You gonna go there and stand up for people? And I said, no, Yolanda, I'm going to go over there and teach people how to stand up for themselves. And
say that again. That's important.
Yolanda said, what are you going to do, Michelle? Are you going to go over there and stand up for people? And I said, no, ma'am, I'm going to go over there and teach people how to stand up for themselves. And I think that that's relevant here. So when Strat and Rondell and Carlos and Teal, it only took one call to those people. And they stood up for me and they said, we will do whatever you would like for us to do. And Nick and Moses and Tiffany and now Dennis are coming here. And all the people in this room, I practically know everyone here. And I just thank you so much for coming out. My good friend, Michael Watson, after we do the reveal, if you will do me a favor and let him pray. I tell people all the time it was very conflicting for me as a child because I had one grandmother who had the F word on her shoulder, and I had another grandmother that the only thing she did was talk about Jesus. And so for
it's
me,
kind of like the angel and the devil,
I would just
right?
like, once we do the reveal, I would like for my good friend, Big Daddy Watson, to come up here and say a prayer before we exit and have another beer. But right now, I'd love to name this building.
Okay. All right. So before we get Jesus and God and beer, can we talk about a few more things? I want to say, now she does not like this, but I'm going to do it because I got the mic. But I want to say thank you, Michelle. A lot of times, absolutely. In business, Nick, we all try to be tough, don't we? We try to say, oh, it's not personal, it's professional. But it is personal today. I will tell later, but my parents rented their first home on Glass Street, bought their first home on Kirby. My two foster siblings, I saw them in a house 2 blocks over, and it was horrible when I was growing up. So it's funny how things bring you back. So I say to you, Michelle, thank you for being courageous, bold. Thank you for talking, and I'm serious. You got to be a voice in order for people to hear. So with that being said, we're going to ask for, let me get a couple of housekeeping things. It is very important, and I know that she doesn't like this, but she lets me do my job. We need a few important pictures before we leave here. So if I can get everyone up here quickly after we do the reveal, if I've asked you to come up here, those individuals for pictures, humor me for 5 minutes.
After the prayer.
After the reveal, after the prayer. Yes,
Yeah.
Prayer and reveal, absolutely. So at this time, we're going to ask the kids to come up. Did they know who the winners are yet? No. Okay. Do anybody know? Okay.
You ready?
No, wait. So I'm going to ask Nick to come up. This is all organic, so go with me. I'm going to ask Mr. Moses Friedman to come up. I'm going to ask Mr. Marty Lowe and Darian Scott to come up. Marty Lowe is the Chief Operations Officer for Main Street Innovations. Darian Scott, he's the CEO of the chamber. I'm sorry, no, he's not the CEO of the chamber.
Yes.
I'm just speaking that on him, okay? So anyway. All right, so I'm going to get you guys to come over here. And we got to do this right. So I'm going to ask for you two gentlemen to come on this side. Nick, I'm going to ask you to stand right here by this speaker. And you right here. All right, so you guys are going to be on each side of this table. And I'm going to get my phone. Hang on one second. Now, we want Strat.
I think we're going to let Nikki come up with Teal.
Nikki, okay, come on, Teal. Nikki, all right, so we're going to, Teal and Nikki are going to actually say the name, okay? They're going to tell you who the winner is.
I want this one.
And ladies and gentlemen, remember this. Do you remember, Nick, being a kid and you won something, your parents came and told you something, you were surprised, and you're like, oh. So I want to make, anybody know what an embedded image is? It's in your mind forever, right? So when we announce these winners, these children need to remember this. They need a standing ovation. They don't need a hand clap. This has been some work. We're going to see a new thing here on Glass Street. So when they come up here, act like it's a Grammy. right?
Nikki is going to award the name, and Strap, because he was so wonderful, will pull the stand up with Nikki. And so, do you want this mic? And you say who, the building, and let's take the reveal and show.
Actually, Strap, you come right here by the nose. Is that okay?
We didn't practice this.
Drum roll.
I'm about to say, who's got the drum roll? Who's got the drum roll? The winner is Archway! Savannah Rice and Marcus Stubbs. Savannah Rice and Marcus Stubbs.
So let's say our names. You guys come over here and stand right in front of this TV. All right, so if you will help us, all right, so tell me name what they won.
Okay, so first up is Savannah Rice. She helped take the name. She was part doing the name along with Marquis Stubbs. He helped do the name. Tell them how old you are.
I'm 10.
I'm 13. And they came up with the name all on their own. And then for the logo, who did the design is Dakota Rice. And tell them how old you are.
9.
All on their own.
Out so quiet. One more time. We're going to give a round of applause. All right. Come on up. All right, so guys, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to have a prayer once the kids get up here. And then I'm going to ask for you guys to stay up here. We're going to have about 10 minutes of pictures, okay?
And a prayer. We're going to say a prayer here in a second, guys. Put our heads down.
Would you go to the Lord with me in prayer, please? Almighty God, we pause to reflect upon your presence in our lives. You are our guiding hand and strong footing. We pause to reflect upon the plan that you have for our lives. We pray that you guide us in our daily activities and that we live our lives pleasing unto you. We pray for our city, Lord. In a time of unrest and violence within our communities, draw close to us and let us draw close to you. Be our protector, but most of all, Lord, we pray that you will be a calming force. Father God, bless this place. Let it be a beacon in this community. Let it be a place of refuge for your children and a place for them to learn and a place for them to teach. Let all gathered here this evening be your hands and feet in this community. Let us all preach a gospel of love and of peace and of forgiveness. Father, we now ask that you bless us this evening in the name of your Son, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you in spirit and in truth, in perfect harmony with you and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Now, drink and be merry. Let's turn the music on. We'll be taking pictures, and then we'll all be joining. Marty Lowe, if I could get you to the front.